One problem with watches is wrist rash. And these are some pictures of wrist rash with an Apple Watch, but you can also get it with Garmin watches and other watches. A lot of times it happens with silicone bands, and usually the cause is that you get moisture underneath the band and you don't let it dry, or there's some bacteria buildup on the band itself. So the usual recommendations are to rest your wrist, let it heal, and clean your band, or take your band off when you take a shower so that it doesn't get wet, or clean your band every once in a while. Another one is just to wear the watch on the other wrist for a while. So I've had this for about 2 weeks, and I've tried, I cleaned the bands, and I have a bunch of bands, so I will swap the bands daily and then clean the one that I've used and then let it dry. But there are a couple of products that I find that help. If the problem is on the bottom of the wrist, then what I do is I use some of this tape. It's called Hypafix tape, and it's normally used for wounds, ostomies, and I don't remember what the C stands for, but the stuff is really, really strong, as it can protect against stomach acid. So I take some of this and then cut a small piece and then just lay it across the wrist, and then the watch band just goes over the tape. Sometimes I use 2 layers, and that helps protect the wrist and gives it some time to heal. The other thing that I've tried, this does not work if the rash is under where the watch goes, because then your heart rate monitor can't collect data. Let's see if there are any. Yeah, here's an example of where the rash is underneath the watch. The other solution that I found works is Burt's Bees. I normally use this for my hands in the wintertime when they get cracked and dry, because the air is very dry, and I find this stuff works really, really well. So I also found it worked really, really well for this particular problem. What I did was I just put some of this on the affected areas, then moved the watch over to the other wrist, worked for a few days, and then put the watch back on, and it seems to be fine. So to recap, the approaches that I use are to clean the band, clean your skin, and wear the watch on the other wrist is one thing. Put some tape on the bottom part of your wrist if that's where the irritation is, to prevent contact between the band and your wrist, and to use this hand salve to speed up the healing process to get rid of the rash. There's one other thing, is that this is more prone with silicone bands. My guess is because they don't breathe. I've heard that it's less common with nylon bands, like the Abenin bands, the hook and loop style, and with metal bands, because the metal bands are usually vented. The hook and loop nylon bands, if you take them into the shower, though, you should probably remove them to dry. I have 2 of them, so when I take a shower, I take the wet band off, let it to dry, and then then put the dry one back on. So I hope you can get out there and run and have a good time this summer, and not have to deal with wrist rash.